Taloja Hills surround the Taloja Pond and the Owe Dam. This watershed is named after the Taloja jail. Lying in Kharghar in Navi Mumbai, a part of it falls under the Panvel Forest Department. The year was 2020. The hills were bare and the water body was dying.
तो पेड़ लगा के ही मिट्टी को रोका जा सकता है, तो इसलिए हमने ये प्रोजेक्ट लिया कि हम हिल्स पे काम करेंगे वाटर बॉडी को बचाने के लिए.
This eco project is an inspiring story of community participation. Members of the local community joined hands to save their neighborhood hill.
So we decided to do something और हमने फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट को अप्रोच किया. लगभग 3 महीने के बाद में हमको परमिशन मिली विद फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट टू प्लांट 100 ट्रीज. सारा फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट ने किया, मेंटेनेंस हमारा था सिर्फ.
And then the iNaturewatch Foundation stepped in through a CSR project of DCB Bank Limited.
So the focus of the bank has been to go around the country, work with people who are experts in water conservation, forest conservation and biodiversity.
The hills were battling a series of challenges: deforestation, mining, soil erosion, forest fires, cattle grazing, and garbage dumping by careless picnickers. Water in the pond was dying with low oxygen. April 2020. The pandemic had forced a lockdown. Against all odds, a project office and a team were set up. The site was surveyed. 7.3 hectares of land was selected for plantation. The method was scientific. A biodiversity survey and analysis of the soil and water. 40 species of plants, 13 species of insects, only 1 species of reptiles, and 34 species of birds were documented.
Now if I see over here, there's so much of empty space. Now a bird requires 3 main things: food, water and shelter. Now if that is lost, it will feel unsafe. And if it feels unsafe, it's definitely going to affect the bird life.
The soil and water were of poor quality. The process of preparing the plantation site began. The goal was ambitious: 5,000 saplings of diverse plants, including herbs, shrubs, and trees. All these along the leeward side of the hills.
हम लोग फुल एक कैनोपी क्रिएट करने की, क्योंकि हम लोग जब कह रहे हैं रिफॉरेस्टेशन कर रहे हैं, तो जंगल में सिर्फ पेड़ नहीं खड़े हैं. जंगल में ग्राउंड फ्लोर है, फर्स्ट फ्लोर है, सेकंड फ्लोर है, थर्ड फ्लोर है.
Trenches and pits were dug. Soil was enriched with compost and cow dung. In July 2020, a total of 921 saplings of 17 distinct species were planted.
A good feeling, a happy feeling you can just say, जो आती है अंदर से.
और ऐसा नहीं, अभी जब हम जा रहे हैं और ये पहाड़ देखते हैं तो हम सोचते हैं जो एज ए फ्यूचर में ये पूरा ग्रीन रहे.
The second phase, from April 2021 to March 2022, 6,969 saplings had been planted. July to September 2022, another round of plantation was carried out to replace the ones that had died. Taloja Hills were now greening.
Thank you so much once again. What really had worked for this project was that the local community was so interested in protecting these hills. So we just became a facilitator for them.
Systematic planning was the mantra. Contour bunds on the hill slopes to capture and hold rainfall before it could run off. Contour bunding is a proven, sustainable land management practice for marginal, sloping, and hilly lands. It helps in increasing water filtration and reduces soil erosion and nutrient loss. 3 nature trail pathways were identified and mapped with GPS on Google Earth. Interventions like leveling wherever required and steps on steep slopes. Pathways were demarcated by fixing coconut shells on the edges. This innovative plan was, however, dropped later as the Forest Department took this responsibility upon itself.
हे सर्व आता आपल्या म्हणजे ह्या स्थानिक प्रजातीमधले वड, पिंपळ, करंज, कडुनिंब अशा पद्धतीची ही झाडं आहेत आणि यांचं लाईफ साधारणतः 200-500 वर्षाचं आहे. त्याच्यामुळं हे म्हणजे खूप चांगल्या पद्धतीने त्यांचं हे केलेलं आहे त्यांनी.
The hilly terrain threw several curveballs, establishing an irrigation system without using electricity was one. Water tanks were installed at strategic locations to use gravity for watering. Petrol-driven pump filled the tanks with water from the perennial well at the site. Pipes and buckets were used for watering saplings higher up on the hills. A variety of maintenance activities were carried out by the caretakers and volunteers to look after the saplings.
हम लोग सिर्फ हमेशा बोलते हैं कि बट पौधे लगाओ, ये करो, नेचर के लिए अच्छा है, लाइफ के लिए अच्छा है, फ्यूचर के लिए अच्छा है, बट खुद सब मिलके कभी कुछ करते नहीं है. तो ये एक्सपीरियंस वाज बेटर, बहुत अच्छा लग रहा है.
A forest nursery was developed. Volunteers helped in collecting seeds of wild plants from the surrounding forest area.
I'm trekking at the same time, plucking seeds and trying to collect them.
These seeds were sowed in bags made by the volunteers. Waste milk bags were used for the saplings. Sustainability was central to all activities. The saplings were raised for a year before being planted on the hills during monsoon. The vegetation flourished. With better food and shelter, fauna started increasing, especially pollinators.
What it used to be barren once upon a time, now we can see the greenery, many other flora and fauna coming. A few of these new species, we can see the plants, saplings growing on their own. So I'm very delighted to see the change.
In a span of 3 years, from 2020 to 2023, plant species increased from 38 to 173. Insect species grew threefold from 39 to 120. Species of amphibians and reptiles increased from 9 to 24. Bird species doubled from 39 to 78. Even mammals increased from 3 species in 2020 to 10 in 2023. A total of 8,000 saplings were planted during the reforestation of Taloja Hills. The survival rate was 52.8%. Variety of species was central to the project. 35 types of indigenous herbs and shrubs were planted. Some of the highlights of the biodiversity survey: Drosera indica, or the Indian sundew, a rare insect-eating plant growing on the rocky, wet slopes on the hills during monsoon. Hairy okra, the nearest relative of the edible ladyfinger. While the large yellow flowers are very ornamental, the importance of this plant is that it is one of the world's most nutritious leafy vegetables with its high protein content. Frilly lepida gathis, a rare plant found only in India and Pakistan. Red Helen butterfly was recorded for the very first time in the Navi Mumbai area. A socio-economic survey was also conducted in the Ove village as part of the Taloja Hill Project. The goal was to study the firewood and non-timber consumption pattern of the people living near the Taloja Hills. The findings: nearly 73% were using forest wood on daily basis, with 12.5% collecting wood every day. 76% were using chulha at home despite having LPG. Nearly 53% were aware of the iNature Foundation's work, and 73% were eager to work with the project. People's participation being crucial, local residents were recruited as hill volunteers. Awareness programs like moth watching and nature trails for school and college students were conducted. A pocket field guide on Taloja Hill Forest was developed. It was released by eminent conservationist and founder of the Sanctuary Nature Foundation, Bittu Sehgal, at the Hornbill House, BNHS. The event was widely covered in 8 news articles. The reforestation of the Taloja Hill received appreciation in media. 25 nature lovers from Navi Mumbai and Mumbai area were trained to conduct nature awareness programs at the hills.
But I hadn't gone into the nooks and crannies and explored it at the level that I have been able to do since I joined this program. So it's been wonderful, and I can see teaching this to kids.
It was a 4-weekend program, including field activities on site in the morning and evening online lectures by experts. At the valedictory function, Sanjay Wagmore from the Forest Department felicitated the participants with certificates and nature field kits. The Taloja Hill Project is significant as it falls in the decade of eco-restoration as declared by the United Nations. It aims to avert, halt, and reverse ecosystem degradation on every continent and in every ocean. It has the potential to assist in eradicating poverty, combating climate change, and averting mass extinctions.
फॉरेस्ट का अपना एक प्रोसेस होता है जो 3 साल में कंप्लीट कभी नहीं होता है. उसे करीबन 5 साल 10 साल लगेंगे हमें ये फुल हिल्स, ये जो हमने पेड़ लगाए वो बड़े होने के लिए. लेकिन जो चेंज मैंने राइट फ्रॉम द फर्स्ट डे या फर्स्ट ईयर से नोटिस किया है इज अ चेंज इन द एटीट्यूड ऑफ पीपल, और वो इसको अपना ही हिल समझते हैं. तो लोगों का ये इस तरह से इकट्ठा होना और एकजुट रहना ये बहुत रेयर चीज़ होती है.